It usually begins in total silence, a household where a parent is emotionally vacant, overwhelmed by their own struggles, or simply detached. For a young child, this absence of external safety triggers an immediate biological crisis. The mammalian brain registers an unguided environment as a direct threat to survival. Without a conscious thought, instinct forces a choice. The child assumes the adult role, carrying the crushing belief that they must hold the environment together or everything will collapse. This survival mechanism comes with a heavy toll. It marks the exact moment the child's authentic, carefree self begins to disappear. The behavioral shifts are subtle but profound. The child stops crying. They offer forced, bright smiles. They learn to meticulously read the emotional temperature of a room before they even speak a word. Psychologists call this parentification. The child effectively becomes the emotional thermostat of the house, constantly regulating the adults around them. We see external praise rising sharply as society celebrates these children for being mature, while their actual authentic development plummets. Every compliment reinforces a dangerous lesson. Their worth is entirely tied to utility. The space between solidifies into a mask. Celebrating this early maturity completely ignores the devastating developmental cost being paid beneath the surface. Fast forward a few decades, that same child is now an adult navigating a modern, high-pressure environment, outwardly appearing flawlessly successful. But their brain remains permanently wired for crisis, a state known as hypervigilance. They walk through everyday interactions constantly scanning for danger, waiting for the other shoe to drop. This rewiring turns love and connection into a transaction. The unconscious rule is simple: offer peace, solve problems, and maybe, in return, you'll be granted a momentary sense of safety. The daily symptoms are exhausting. It looks like aggressively rejecting help, maintaining a rigid hyperindependence, and operating with a nervous system that is constantly vibrating under immense pressure, unable to shut down. Because their nervous system has accepted chaos as the baseline, a quiet evening doesn't feel relaxing. True peace and stillness actually feel suspicious. It raises a painful question. Why would any child willingly erase their own needs? The answer lies in our biological programming. A child will do absolutely anything, even completely abandon themselves, to maintain attachment to a caregiver. Self-abandonment serves as a highly intelligent survival instinct, an adaptive response to a world that offers no other way to stay connected. To maintain the illusion of control, the adult constructs a flawless persona. They become the perpetual therapist friend, the quiet achiever, the rock everyone else leans on. The tragic irony of parentification is that the hyper-independent mask that kept you safe in childhood is the very mechanism keeping you imprisoned in adulthood. Reparenting begins with a difficult pivot, turning away from the search for external fixes to look squarely at the childhood you are forced to outrun. You must witness and validate the frozen, unexpressed grief of the childhood self that you had to leave behind. It requires confronting a harsh reality. No external savior is coming to rescue the child you buried. You must mentally return to the past yourself. You have to provide the safety, the acknowledgement, and the permission to rest that you were denied when you needed it most. This process is inherently painful because it requires processing decades of survival-based suppression. This willingness to finally feel what was once too dangerous to name is where the cycle of parentification finally breaks. As you integrate this lost child, the rigid, high-functioning mask finally begins to crack and fall away. Letting go of the need to be hyper-independent allows you to lower your guard, choosing softness and genuine connection over control. Integrating these darker, abandoned parts of the self is a psychological framework championed by Carl Jung, who recognized that facing our shadow is the only path to true wholeness. You cannot change the childhood you lost, but grieving it is the exact mechanism that gives you the agency to write a self-directed future.